Have you ever wondered if there's a single phrase or teaching so powerful that merely hearing it could change your destiny? Have you ever doubted whether spiritual liberation is possible in this lifetime, or even in countless ones to come? What if the path to enlightenment wasn't hidden in complexity, but revealed in a sacred name spoken with faith? Welcome back to the channel, where we dive into ancient wisdom with modern clarity. Today, we explore one of the most astonishing claims in Buddhist history, the idea that simply hearing the name of a certain sutra could plant the seed of Buddhahood in your heart. This isn't a metaphor. This is something the Buddha himself declared with unwavering certainty. In the vast ocean of Buddhist scriptures, few carry the sheer magnitude and spiritual impact of the Sutra of the Great Vow. It is not just another text. It is a cosmic promise, a divine assurance that no soul will be left behind, no suffering will be wasted, and no aspiration will be ignored. At its heart is the vow of a bodhisattva so boundless in compassion, so fearless in commitment, that his very name became synonymous with hope for countless beings across infinite worlds. But what is this sutra? Who made the vow? And how can a single name contain the power to liberate countless beings? Today, we journey into this profound mystery not through blind belief, but through deep inquiry and spiritual storytelling. Let's begin by setting the scene. Long ago, in a realm beyond time, a Buddhist named Dharmakara made a series of 4 to 8 vows before a Buddha named Lakshvararis. These vows were not casual aspirations. They were cosmic commitments, sealed in the deepest recesses of his awakened heart. Among them, one vow stood out above all others, the 18th vow. Dharmakara declared that when he attained Buddhahood, any sentient being who sincerely called upon his name, even just once, with faith and clarity, would be reborn in his pure light and ultimately attain enlightenment. This is not a myth. This is the foundation of what later became the Pure Line tradition, one of the most widely practiced schools of Buddhism in East Asia. And who is Dharmakara today? He is known as Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light. So now the question becomes, how can a name, a sound, a syllable have such power? How can uttering Chmichabit with sincerity lead to salvation? And what does this mean for you, right now, as you listen to these words? Let's unpack the deeper truths hidden in this astonishing teaching. First, we must understand the nature of sound in Buddhist philosophy. Name is not just a label. It is a vibrational echo of the reality it points to. When you say Chmichabit, you are not merely pronouncing a name. You are aligning your consciousness with the boundless compassion and wisdom that Amitabha represents. The sound becomes a bridge, the syllables become sacred vessels, and your mind becomes a field of awakening. But, and this is essential, it is not about magical thinking. A power is not in the sound alone. It is in the intention, the sincerity, the heart behind it. When the Buddha said that hearing the name could lead to Buddhahood, he wasn't offering a shortcut. He was offering a seed that, when planted with faith and nurtured with practice, can grow into the tree of enlightenment. Let's pause and consider what this means for everyday people like you and me. It means that no matter how far you feel from spiritual attainment, no matter how heavy your karma, no matter how broken your past, the path is still open. It means that the very act of hearing these words, of allowing them to enter your consciousness, is a spiritual event. You are being invited, not by doctrine, but by a cosmic force of compassion to remember who you truly are. This is the grace of Amitabha. It is not earned by merit. It is received by trust. There's a story of a man who lived a life of violence and theft. On his deathbed, tormented by visions of hell, he wept in despair. Mind whispered to him, "Say the name of Amitabha." The mind, with his last breath, cried out, "Chmichabit." And in that moment, his mind found peace. The fear dissolved, his eyes softened, and he passed with a gentle smile. Was he saved by a word? No. He was saved by the opening of his heart. The name was the key, but the door had always been within him. This is why the Buddha's vow is so revolutionary. Democratizes enlightenment. It removes the hierarchy of attainment. It says even you, to think you are beyond saving, even you are held in infinite light. And this promise is not just poetic, it's practical. Ink of your own life. How many moments are filled with anxiety, regret, or longing? How many nights do you lie awake, unsure of your worth, your path, your place in this vast world? Now imagine that in the quiet of that moment, you whisper Shmishbe, not as a superstition, not as a trick, but as a surrender, as a call, to reminder that you are not alone. And that whisper becomes a wave. That wave becomes a current, and that current carries you not away from your life, but deeper into it. Because Amitabha is not a distant deity. He is the awakened potential within you. His pure mind is not just a heavenly realm. It is the purified mind, free from delusion. When you call his name, you are calling forth your own Buddha nature. This is the hidden genius of the vow. It bypasses pride. It bypasses philosophy. It goes straight to the heart. Let us now journey through time and across cultures to explore the lives of those who encountered the sacred name of Amitabha, and whose stories reveal the depth and mystery of this path. These are not myths or legends disconnected from reality. They are living testimonies to the power of intention, devotion, and surrender. In 9th century China, there was a humble farmer named Liang who lived a hard life. His hands were calloused from years in the fields, his back bent from toil, and his soul burdened by the harshness of survival, and never studied scripture. He never visited temples. But his grandmother once told him, if you ever feel lost, call the name of Amitabha. For decades, Liang remembered that phrase but never used it until one night, a storm destroyed his harvest. Facing starvation and ruin, he fell to his knees in the mud, tears mixing with rain, and cried out, Tchmishibur. He did not expect salvation. He simply had nowhere else to turn. But something shifted. In the days that followed, neighbors came to help. An old friend offered him a job. He began to walk each morning before sunrise, repeating the name softly under his breath. Peace, for the first time in his life, bloomed in his chest, not because his life got easier, but because his heart grew still. And life many more years, and those who knew him spoke of a presence calm, clear, luminous. He never preached. He simply smiled often and whispered Chmichibe whenever he walked. Now let's cross to Japan, where the pure line tradition flourished under the guidance of great teachers like Hamen and Shinran. His masters boldly declared that the name alone, Enamu Amitabha, was sufficient for salvation. Not rituals, not intellect, not effort, just sincere recitation. This was radical. In a time when Buddhism had become complex and hierarchical, Hamen's message was like water to the thirsty. He said, even a fool can reach the pure line if he recites with faith. Even a scholar will fail if he clings to pride. And this is the genius of the vow. It cuts through ego. It asks not for your perfection, but for your surrender. Shinran went even further. He saw himself as the lowest of beings and ably racked with doubt, desire, and confusion. But that very humility made him open to grace. He said, it is not I who recite the name, it is Amitabha for me. In other words, even your faith is a gift. Even your calling is the Buddha working through you. Let's pause and reflect on what this means for us today. In our age of self-help, we are taught that everything depends on our effort. Hustle more, prove more, strive more. But the pure line path whispers a different truth. Stop striving, let go. Rest in something greater than your ego. Imagine how radical this is. In a society addicted to performance, the most sacred act is surrender. Not to give up, but to give over. Not to control, but to trust. And this trust is not blind. It is based on the lived experience of millions who have called the name in times of despair and found peace. It is a trust that says, even when I fail, I am held. Even when I doubt, I am not abandoned. Even when I stumble, the light of Amitabha shines for me. There's a modern-day story of a woman named Rachel, who lived in New York and was diagnosed with terminal cancer. A friend introduced her to the name Amitabha. She had no background in Buddhism, but something about the idea that she didn't have to fix herself to be loved, something about the promise that simply calling the name was enough, moved her. In her final months, She began each day by saying Chmishaba 10 times. You wrote it on sticky notes. You repeated it during Qigong. Her nurses noticed a change in not in her prognosis, but in her peace. He smiled more. He accepted help with grace, and in her final hour, she asked her friend to say the name with R. They whispered together, Emethybev, Emethabas, Emethabas. And then, silence. No fireworks, no visions. Just a quiet peace. This is the promise of the vow, not that your life will be free of suffering, but that suffering will no longer separate you from truth. Not that you will escape death, but that death will no longer be the end. When we speak of hearing the name, we must understand this spiritually. It is not about sound waves hitting yours. It is about the heart awakening to a presence beyond thought. When the Buddha said that hearing the name would lead to Buddhahood, he was speaking from a place beyond time. He saw that the name would echo through every age, reaching those who were lost, weary, unworthy, and calling them home. That includes you. Act now, as you hear these words, as you let them enter your awareness. Something is stirring, seed is being planted. You may not feel it, you may not believe it, but it is real. The vow has reached you. Let us now turn our attention from the mystery of death to the miracle of living. Because the vow of Amishaba is not only a bridge to the next life, it is a profound guide for this one. It is a map for how to live with more peace, more clarity, and more life. So how does one actually walk this path? How does calling the name of Amishaba transform not just your future, but your present? It begins with the practice of Nembets, the mindful, sincere recitation of the Buddha's name. Namluamitabutsu. It means I take refuge in Amitabha Buddha. But more than that, it means I remember who I truly am. This remembrance is not intellectual, is heart deep, is not about believing in a figure outside yourself, but awakening to the boundless light within yourself. When you chant Chmishaba, you are aligning your mind with infinity. You are dissolving your ego in the ocean of compassion. You are not escaping life, you are entering it fully, fearlessly, faithfully. Consider what happens when you chant daily, not just with your lips, but with your breath, your awareness, your soul. First, your mind slows down. The monkey mind, always jumping from thought to thought, begins to settle. There is rhythm, repetition, reverence. You enter a state of sacred stillness. This stillness is not dull, it is alive. It is luminous, it is the silence in which truth speaks. Second, your heart softens. Old resentments begin to melt. Our self-judgments lose their sting. You begin to feel what the Buddha felt, compassion not only for others, but for yourself. You see your flaws not as sins, but as wounds in need of life. And as you repeat the name, it becomes a poem, healing, song of return. Third, your actions transform. You become less reactive, more present. You speak with more care. You listen with more patience. You serve without needing applause. Because you are no longer driven by lack, you are moved by life. You don't need to prove your worth. You simply express it. This is not fantasy. This is the lived experience of those who walk the pure line path, and not in temples or monasteries, but in apartments, hospitals, offices, and kitchens. There's the story of David, a former soldier who suffered from deep PTSD. It transformed him. He tried therapy, medication, meditation, but nothing brought lasting peace. And, through a friend, he encountered Pure Line teachings. At first, he scoffed. How could a name do anything? But in a moment of desperation, he tried. Chmithiba, Amitabhas. He cried the whole time. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't spiritual. It was raw. It was real. And he kept going. Months later, he described feeling a presence, warm, gentle, wordless, outside of him, but within. Like a parent he never had, like a home he had never known. He still had nightmares, but they no longer consumed him. He said, I'm not healed yet, but I'm being held. That's the power of this practice. Not to make life perfect, but to make it holy. To live with the name of Amitabha on your lips is to walk in light, even when surrounded by darkness. It is to carry a candle of hope in the night, not because the world has changed, but because your vision has. Let us speak plainly. There will be days you forget, days you doubt, days you chant without feeling. It's okay. This path is not about perfection. It is about perseverance. Each repetition of the name is a drop in a vast ocean, and over time, the ocean shapes the shore of your soul. There will be moments when the name rises unbidden, when you are sick, when you are afraid, when you are joyful, and you will realize the name is no longer something you say, is something you are, is embedded in your breath, your blood, your being. And in that moment, you are no longer separate from anything. You are His light, you are His fire. You are the continuation of His infinite compassion in this world. This is not dogma. This is Dharma. It is a truth you live and not a belief you memorize. So I ask you now, not with pressure, but with invitation. What would it mean to make this practice your companion? Not your burden, but your blessing. Not another task, but a source of tenderness. What if, right now, you closed your eyes and said Shmishabas from the heart, and not to escape, but to enter this moment fully? What if that name became a thread, weaving your days into a tapestry of meaning? Did you try? Would you dare to believe that something so simple could be so sacred? Because that's what the Buddha promised. That's what the vow revealed. And that's what millions across centuries have discovered quietly, faithfully, beautifully. You don't need to be special. We don't need to be pure. We don't need to be ready. We only need to be sincere. And in that sincerity, the door opens. The light pours in. The vow embraces you. And let us close with love. Conclusion. Thank you so much for walking this path with me today. If this message has touched you, moved you, or even just stirred a question in your heart, I invite you to share your experience in the comments. Tell me, have you heard the name before? What does it mean to you? Or are you hearing it for the first time? Let's support each other in remembering. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and consider becoming a member to help sustain and grow this space of awakening. Your presence here is precious. And remember this, wherever you go, you are already held in the light of infinite compassion. You are already walking the path, and with each breath, each step, each whisper of Shmishaba, you are moving closer to the home you never left. Thank you for watching.